Hello and welcome. I am Liberty Rose. Welcome to my channel, which is all about conscious living in Costa Rica, where I offer tips and advice for anybody that is looking to move here. What I'm sharing in this video today is something that is very much alive for me right now, and is what I believe is the most important thing that anybody that is looking to move to a foreign country needs to put a lot of energy into, and that is building community. Now, what do I mean by community? I mean finding soul family, finding people with who you have a strong and deep resonance, who you can rely on, who you can trust. The thing about Costa Rica is that it is an extremely transient country. People are always coming and going. And so it's easy to build relationships and then say goodbye. And so here are a few tips to build community that is foundational and that is long lasting. So a lot of people come to Costa Rica for the dry season. They come here from June to May, for example, and then they leave. And they come here year after year. So there's a certain level of acceptance that comes with the fact that you will build relationships with people who will be here for half the year or less. And you will simply say goodbye to them until the following year. When the rains come in May, people tend to enter in much more of a cocooning mode. There are way fewer activities going on. The energy of fire, which is very present in the dry season, is very much replaced with the energy of water, which is slower and more emotional when the rains come. It is an excellent time, however, to really savor the quieter moments. Not only the quieter moments with yourself, but the quieter moments with the people who are remaining here. Because there are a lot of people who live here full-time as expats, and there are opportunities to connect in community, even if a lot of Costa Rica has emptied. And in my opinion, this is actually the most important moment to really be finding your tribe members, because there is a lot less noise. Rainy season being a much quieter time, it tends to be easier, to be slower, to be in a more still state of mind, and therefore easier to connect with people. I actually love the rainy season for this reason, is how much it is a time to really cherish Costa Rica and see another side of it that a lot of people don't get to see, when there is just less hustle and bustle, and the people who are more rooted here stay. Now, being a mother myself, it's really important to be able to connect with other mothers, share our realities, and for our kids to be able to build those connections too. It's also a reality that even for the children, friendships are transient or friendships come and go. However, finding people with who you have resonance with, in my case, mothers, in your case, whatever it is that you are looking for, be it sisterhood, be it friends to surf with, be it friends to do some other kind of sport with, whatever you're looking for, pin down where your community might be and put energy into building relationships in that area. So Costa Rica is filled with events all the time, and it's also the land of opportunity where you can really easily create events and build momentum. Of course, you have to get the word out, and in my experience, the best way to do that is through word of mouth, reaching out to the people that you know and say, hey, I'm launching this thing, come by. If you reach out directly to someone, they're much more likely to come than if you just send them a flyer randomly or add them to a big WhatsApp group and say, guys, I'm creating this. Creating that one-on-one contact is so essential to building community. And so making sure to maintain regular contact with the same people to strengthen those relationships is key. It can be overwhelming when you come here because there are so many people, and it can also be really isolating. Depending on where you're living, you might feel that you are too far out and that it's difficult to connect with people. One of the great ways to do that is actually by going to the markets. If you live somewhere where there are ferias or local markets, it can be really a great place to connect with people, to chat a lot of the foreigners up, or to meet with locals as well if that's what you're looking for. Although the reality in Costa Rica is that the foreigners tend to stick together and the locals do as well. As much as there is a desire for people to mingle more and there are people putting effort for that to happen, it's just the reality. And so in this video, I am going to be focusing more on building community with other foreigners because that's been my experience of what's easiest. Oftentimes in the markets, you'll see people that you'll never see elsewhere. They just come out on that one market day and then they go back home and they go back to their corner. But these are maybe really interesting people to connect with and that you wouldn't have the opportunity to meet otherwise. Of course, chatting with your neighbors, making an effort to make friends with them, and living somewhere that is less isolated if you have a tendency, like me, to easily isolate yourself, making sure that you're living somewhere that is more central, that is easier of access. Another tip I have is to get your hands on a car. Of course, this is a really big expense in Costa Rica. However, it makes your life so much easier because you can go out a lot more easily. That being said, hitchhiking is also really easy to do and is an amazing way to meet people. And although I have had the luxury of owning a car and therefore have not really hitchhiked, the few times I have always really been eye-opening in how easy it is to make friends and how friendly people are who pick you up. So actually, having a car can make it easier to go to certain events, but if you don't and you're willing to hitchhike, if you're outgoing enough and willing to do that, then that can also be a great way to meet people. At either case, getting out there, obviously, of course, not spending time in your home just waiting for people to magically show up at your door, but making an effort to go out. So in our world, we really actually don't emphasize enough the importance of building community. And there are so many people who come to Costa Rica who are looking to live in an intentional community where you just show up and on your land, everyone's your friend, right? In some kind of way. Unfortunately, this is not the reality. And I do plan on speaking more about intentional communities in the future as I connect with people who have more information to share on the subject than I do. But the idea is there that people are still always looking for deep and true and meaningful connections. This is not something that you necessarily stumble upon everywhere, and it takes a certain level of devotion and dedication. One way that I am really making an effort to build this is by creating weekly women's circles on the beach. As much as I can, when I'm available, I hold these spaces for women to come together. And even if we're only 4 people, simply share a special moment in the morning with the waves, share what's in our hearts, share some food. And these are such beautiful, heart-connecting moments that are really important and nourishing and fuel my fire afterwards for all kinds of other ideas and initiatives. Of course, I am an extrovert, so I do get energy from being in social connections. And actually, a lot of my time in Costa Rica has been alone, being alone, and it's been very hard and challenging for me, which is why I'm making such an effort now to get out and make friends and build sisterhood. It does take effort. It's not something that I can just sit back and just expect to show up. I have to get out there, and so this is why I am actively holding space for women to come together, and I am always feeling into what else I can create for community to be built. I have to say that if I had put more energy into building community from the start, then I would have felt a lot easier transition into making this home. If you are looking for some tips and advice on how you can come here with more ease or how you can build community, I am launching a Patreon on February 28th, and I will have certain offerings which allow you to ask me questions either in a group or privately, where I'll be able to support you and let you know where would be the ideal place for you to go in Costa Rica according to your needs and according to where your tribe might be. I look forward to being of service and of support to all of you who might appreciate my help. If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you soon in the next one.